that now. Mwalimu, also Kendrick just joined. So
Okay.
yeah, you may check that.
Oh, Kendrick David, yeah. So Kendrick, welcome. We were just concluding introductions. So maybe you can take less than that. Let me say 30 seconds to introduce you to tell us your name and what's your background and where you are before we start.
Okay, my name is Kendrick David Eric. I'm from Oklahoma, following from Oklahoma.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Welcome. So, how many of you have ever heard about GitHub, first of all, before we start? Anybody who have ever heard about GitHub?
I have Mwalimu.
You have ever heard about GitHub? Fantastic. Fair enough. So now today we want to demystify.
And Mwalimu, just a minute. There's an E you missing in between the before the double T.
Just
before. Yes. No. Just before the T.
Yeah. 7-8.
Okay.
Yes. That's why it was giving me error. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. And probably if you're done, so if you have these slides, you can also share with them.
Yes. I'll do that.
Okay.
I'll do that after this. So welcome once again. Let's now go into the business. In case you are writing it somewhere or taking some notes, well and good. We are just going to enter what we call the fundamentals of GitHub on how to navigate through it. Why do we call it version source control system and all that? So that you can be able to understand. Now, GitHub in a nutshell is an online repository that normally helps the student or even developer, so to speak, to upload or to merge their projects online. You can be able to collaborate with a team in Malaysia, a team in US, and you're in Africa. So it helps it's like a project management system, but now here you are able to now collaborate with different people online and be in a position to share your input as well. So basically it helps what you call the control, it provides controls of your codes, provide controls of your projects, and so on and so forth. The other benefit about GitHub, so to speak, it is also act as a database. You can be able to save your previous work there, and of course share as a portfolio, maybe to an organization or to a recruiter by telling them this is what I've been working for the past 10 years, the past 5 years, the past 6 months. And you can showcase your development, you can showcase your input or maybe your contribution to the community, so to speak, in your area of operation. So now today we are going to cover what we call the agenda of the business. One, why the GitHub version and all that. Are you together? What do you call it? The use of version control. What are the Git and the GitHub basic Git commands? Definitely. And of course, we're also going to learn about the fundamentals of what do you call it? The GitHub, using GitHub in project implementation as well. Now, in terms of teams collaboration, number one, as I have mentioned a few minutes ago, is that we have a system that can be able to help teams to work together, and you can be able to see that you can change one part of a program, together, on one side, and then the other partner can be able to change their part, or if you're working in terms of section, for example, we are analyzing data based on different components. You can be able to build on your end, I build on my end, then we merge the two what do you call it, work sections. Once we merge in terms of branches, then we can be able now to have one main branch called the master. Together we have the master, so whereby now we have a harmonious, or let's say, for example, a collaborative as an area where everybody can be able now to view the progress of what you're working on. Even you can share with your, let's say, your client, for example, to just show them how far you've done or how far you've gone with the work that maybe they assigned you, and even you can share with your supervisor, so to speak, for review. So you can be able to co-work with other people. You can be able to put them together, in terms of merging those branches. And of course, at the end of the day, you can be able to track your changes moving forward. So anything that happens within the repository, even if it is somebody who pushed it from Argentina, you'll be able to see so and so did this and this from A to B, and you can be able to review that work and either approve or disapprove at the end of the day. So it's a very unique repository that helps the co-working of teams in different areas towards a common goal or to achieve a common objective at the end of the day. Then like I said, in terms of teamwork, you can make a number of improvements to maybe a project, depending on what you are doing. Of course, your co-workers can make a number of different improvements to the same class. When I'm talking about class, I'm talking to a specific project that you are working on. If it is under 7.8, we are building a model. For example, we are building a predictive model for banks to support banks to make decisions pertaining marketing towards loan applicant, for example, and we can say we want to know which professions normally borrows loans from the bank, and out of it we can be able to guide the bank on various way on where to maybe stress more, or even put more effort in terms of campaigns and creating awareness. Then in such a scenario, I can call that end-to-end predictive model a class. So maybe I'll be working with different people from Kenya and maybe from US, assign different tasks in this particular case, working with the same data set, and of course, contributing to the same objective. So I'll be able to, be in a position to, let's say, evaluate who did what and when, and can I be able to approve it or not. Then after that, you can be able to merge these changes. If you approve and you see the work is good, you can say, okay, fair enough. Let's move on to the next task. The version control system, or the VCS, is often called a source code control system. Source code control system, right together. Then it does multiple tasks, so to speak, and one of it is to keep multiple or order and new versions of everything, not just the source. So it gives you the ability to, be in a position to provide like README files. You can be able to explain like a narrative of what you've done from the old and the new. Say, for example, you've pushed your code to a certain percent, let's say 50%, and the remaining 50% need to be captured maybe in the next 14 days. So I'll be able to track what have you done in the past 5 days and what is remaining at the end of the day. Can be able to track the new versions of what you've done. Then the other thing is about request comment regarding every change. Like I said, it captures both descriptions and the source code. So you'll be given a chance to explain now the code that you have pushed on GitHub. What does it communicate? And as a developer, when I'm training my student, I always emphasize on making comments to your codes. Yeah, because it's very important as a developer to adopt that what we call principle, because I don't know what you're doing. I'm assuming I'm a layman person. When I come to your GitHub repo, I want to understand everything as a layman person. And I know what have you done, what are you working on, and what does this code mean, and what is it for at the end of the day. Then the other advantage is allows what we call check-in and check-out of files. So you know which files someone else is working on. So you can be able to see who checked in and who checked out at the end of the day. I mean, it is a component that will be able to guide you holistically on various stages on what one is working on in this particular case. So you'll be able to track changes critically. You can be able, as part of what you call control system. That's why it is even called version control system. Are you together? Then the other thing is about displays differences between versions. So in case you're working with the older versions and you have a new versions of maybe model, for example, for people who develop applications, for example, you will find that if you are pushing, let's say an application, let's say version 1 or version 2 or version 3. So same case, it will help you to display differences between the versions that you're working on. Then the other benefit of version control is that it gives you a time machine for going back to early version. Like I said, you can roll back. It gives you time machine. Can be able to navigate back and maybe make amendments if at all the changes that you committed were not up to standard. Then it also gives you a great support for different versions. So we talk about the standalone, the web, and the app, are you together? So in this case, you can navigate between the three. Like I said, when you're developing an applications, when you're developing a website, we have different frames, for example, that you want to maybe view or to save your source codes in this case. So you can have either standalone, for example, you can have a web, and also you can have an app-based repo, or let's say version control. Now, so for working with others, if now this is working for yourself or by yourself, or for working with others, it greatly simplifies the concurrent work, merging changes. When I talk about the simplifying concurrent work, I mean, you are able to monitor specifically, maybe you are different teams in different categories, and manage them. In this case, you can be able to approve whatever they're doing, whether it is up to standard or not. You can even maybe make comment, tell them do this, do that, before you join their work with the other members. In case you're working for a website, so to speak, and everyone has been assigned different pages to develop, or maybe data analysis, and someone has been given different tasks, we are not going to approve your work until it meets the standard. So you can be able to do what concurrently manage different teams within the same project. Now, next thing is what are Git and GitHub? Because we've talked about the repository, the version control system. Yeah, it is a system that manages what you call different tasks within a particular database and help people to work together. Now, Git itself, it's a free and an open source distributed what we call version control system. And it was designed to handle everything from small to a very large projects with speed and efficiency. And that's why I said in a nutshell that VCS is more of a project management system. You can be able to manage your project there efficiently. Now, GitHub, the GitHub. The GitHub is a web-based Git repository hosting services now, which offers all the distributed revisions, controls, and a source code management system. We call it the SEM functionality of Git, as well as adding its own features. So when you're talking about the Git repository, we have what we call a system. It's a system that enables you to like push code, enables you to handle, whatever that you're working on your local machine or local server. You can be able to manage it either on your desktop. And now you use the web-based. If you allow me to use a simple word, the web-based is what we call the graphical user interface. What we see from the system is what we are talking about, the GitHub. But what is behind the whole system is what we are referring to as the Git, the version control system. So we are going to install the GitHub desktop, which now is the system, which enables us to connect to the web-based Git repository in this case. So how to set up Git and GitHub? Number one, we install the latest version of the GitHub, then desktop, which will allow us to install Git and keep it up to date. And can anyone confirm? There's a link I had shared on WhatsApp. So I want first of all to share that because I want us to install as we move on, because we are coming back. So there's a link I shared. Can you confirm you can navigate through that link kindly? Are you together in the group? Let me share my screen. Yes, can I request Ken? Ken, you can mute. All right, thank you. Oh yeah. So can you see my screen?
Mwalimu, you have some messages in the chat.
Let me see. All right. All right. It's okay. So let me post it on the chat. I think it will be much easier. Yes, click that link. So once you open the link, it will take you to this browser, this page, whereby we have download for Windows. I don't know how many people have Mac, so to speak. So if you have Mac, kindly let me know at the end of the day that you can be able to set it up. So now the first thing is that we need to download the, what do you call it, the current version, which is the 64-bit for Windows setup over here. So you click this one. I had already downloaded, so I won't download maybe another time because I already have it within my local machine. So then after you download the 64-bit, you run it, you just install it. You just install it so as to be able to, what do you call it? Install the files needed. So this is we call it the Git bash, or what I can call it in another term, the user account control. So you can be able now to run your codes over here. You can utilize, you can clone your Git repos and all that. So kindly download the 64-bit version over here. And then from there, we are going to move forward after the presentation. So let's move on. No, the standalone installer. The standalone installer. Download the standalone installer. Yes. All right. Okay. Perfect. So let's go back to the presentation. So let's go to now basic Git command. After you're done with the installation, let me know. Kindly comment on the chat section so that I know how many people have been able to succeed. So number one is that you need to introduce yourself to the Git first of all. So if you install your Git bash in this case, or the Git account, the Git desktop system, you'll be able now to, of course, initialize, or in this case, you need to register yourself. So the first thing you do is git config global user dot name, and then you can give it your name. For example, you can give it Mase Maseki, you can give it Jimmy Bazaire, or whichever name that you want to use. And then the next thing is you register your email by just writing this command git config _global user.email, and then you put your email there. So now you only need to do this once, because one of the main reasons is as to why GitHub is very important. It's going to store all your project, not only for the 7.8 or whatever you're going to cover under 7.8, even in future. If you're doing your own personal project, you'll be able to refer to them. And one of the main reasons why we are talking about GitHub is because most recruiters, myself included, if I am recruiting either an officer or an intern, so to speak, I always ask them, do you have a Git repo? Because I need to see, what have you been doing in the past 6 months? What have you been doing in the past 1 year? Okay, you are saying you're a developer, you're a data analyst. That's fine, that's okay. But show me, what have you done in the past 6 months? Can I be able to review some of the projects that you've been able, or what you've been working for? Because if I read from your CV or resume, I see you are a seasoned data analyst, but there is nothing that you have done in the past. So there are a lot of students whose projects are sitting in their local machines, and they cannot justify to the recruiters that they are able to do ABCD simply because there is no evidence whatsoever that can be able to be showcased. So therefore, this training is very important for the purpose of managing your projects moving forward. The other thing is that if you want to use a different name or email address for a particular project, you can change it, of course, for just that project, where you can be able to change the directory. We call it CD, means change directory, to the project directly, then use the above command, but leave out the global. So in the case, in this name, you just you don't include the global section bit of it. You just now say git config username, and then you put a new username that you want to put. No, or else you can just write git config global. Git config username, and then you put the email address that you want to work with. The repository bit of it, your top level working directory contains everything about your project. Are you together? The working directory probably contains many subdirectories. Of course, we have source codes, we have binaries, we have documentations, data that you have uploaded within that particular project and all that. Then anytime you take, what do you call it? You can take a snapshot of everything or the selected things in your project directory and put it in your repository. So this snapshot is called a commit object. Yeah, we call it a commit object. And the commit object contains number one, a set of files, two, references to the parents of the commit object, and number three, the unique SHA one. Of course, that is the name that you're going to give. Now, also, it also have what we call the commit objects that do not require huge amounts of memory. So you basically find that because they are temporary, you are just running the system, you'll find that it doesn't require that much memory, so to speak, so that it can be able to run. But of course, in the area of the repository, you need more storage, so to speak, in case maybe your project are that big. But of course, GitHub offers enough, enough storage for your work. In case you need to expand, depending if you're working for a business, well and good, you can expand your repository. Then you can work as much as you like in your working directory, but the repository is not updated until you commit something. There's something we call Git status. We are coming to that, which will help you to know what is happening within your repository before you commit and all that. Then we have the init and .git repository. Init means initialization, just the way you say initialize something. So you say git init, you're initializing something. And then .git repository, in this case, as we speak, it's what you call a subdirectory, that contains various files. For example, when you clone a project, it comes in, it installs automatically the .git, files, or that subdirectory name. We shall see after we create one. It comes with those, the files that are within your Git project. And of course, the dot indicates hidden directly. So basically, there are a lot of files, but they are not projected in the folder that you're working with. But once you clone that particular project, they are going to be part of the folder that you have. And then you do not work directly with the contents of that directly. So now various Git command will not do that for you automatically when you're pushing your code. Then in terms of making commit, you do your work in your project directly, so to speak, over here. So if you create new files and folders, they are not tracked by Git unless you ask it to do so. So you have to say Git and then you give the name new files, or let's say new project, and you give the project of that particular folder or whatever the file that you're working on. And then you push it right together. After that, there's what we call the committing or making a snapshot, that makes a snapshot. whereby you can be able to give a message on what are you working on. For example, if I say git commit FNM, I can give, let's say, my project 1 in 7X, or I can say predictive end-to-end predictive modeling, or I have pushed this and this right together, and then we have the git commit. So then the other thing is about the format of the commit message. So one line containing the complete summary. So you don't write two, two lines. The way it is in code, that's how you put your comment here, so to speak, so that it is readable to the person who is going to review your code in the repository. Then we have the commit and graphs. So a commit is when you tell a Git that a change, or let's say addition, so to speak, have been made and it is ready to be included in the project. That's why I say you are working in section. So whatever commit you make, it's registered in the repository, and there's somebody to review it, for example, before it is merged to the main branch. Then when you commit your change to Git, it creates a commit object. Right together? And a commit object now represents your change, the one that you already made, of course, including all the files within that particular project that you have pushed. So the very first commit object has no parent, because the first one has no parent. We have parents and children as the subcategories within the particular main branch or master branch. Now, usually you take some commit object, or let's say, for example, make some changes and create a new commit right together. Now, the original commit object is the parent of the new commit object. So the way we are saying that the first commit has no parent, it means there has no other commit that has been made before the first one. But now the subsequent commits will have a parent, because the first one to be made becomes the parent of the subsequent ones. Are you together? Then you can also merge the two commits object from one new, form a new one. And in this case, you can either merge to a master branch, or you can either merge this to the main branch, depending. Master and the main branch are still the same. Are you together? So hence, commit object forms a directive, a directed graph. And of course, it allows, gives you the ability to do what they manipulate different graphs within the workflow. Then the commit message in Git, commit, commits are cheap. Do them often. When you commit, you must provide a one-line message, as like I said, stating what you've done. Either, for example, terrible message, fix a bunch of things, and you can talk about what maybe, or maybe let's say you're working on a particular section, say what you've done in that section, right together. But don't write terrible messages. Don't say some nasty, vulgar words over there. So make sure you use better language, or what we call proper language. Better message, like for example, corrected the calculation of the median score. That's a very good example. So make sure the comment that you make when pushing or committing is make sure that they are within the frame, what do you call it? The approved metric. So the commitments can be very helpful to yourself as well, and also to your team members. Are you together? You'll find that you don't want to give a lot of stories, but they are going to help the people who are going to review. Or maybe if you're working as a team, let them know what you've done. Communicate as a developer or as an analyst what you're working on. Then you can't say much in one line. So commit often. Like you have to keep on pushing, step by step, depending on the sections that you're working on. Now, the typical workflow, let's say in a Git repository, so we normally have the working directory. So the working directory is what you call the main repo, or what you call the overview, the general overview of what you've created. Let's say it is a new project and all that. So what happened is that the first thing that you do when you log in, or when you initialize what you call your Git bash, is to get the Git status. So it helps you to see what Git things and what is going on. So you get the status, like the way you tell me the status of a certain situation before you commit to anything. And of course, like I said, you have to do this frequently. Anytime that you want to know the status, you have to do it frequently before you push or before you commit in any file. Once you get the status, then now work on your files. So now go and add more editable files within your local machine that you're working on, and then you commit and then see what you did, so to speak. Some rules or some house rules here and there. Number one, keep it simple. Yeah, make sure you are current with the central repository together. Make some improvement to your code or something of the sort. And if you update a central repository before anyone else, communicate. Then you don't have to worry about resolving conflicts or working with multiple branches together. You can always merge them later. All the complexity in Git come from dealing with this, of course. Yes, so you can be able to resolve the conflict and navigate, be in a position to come back to the master branch. And therefore, make sure that you're up to date before starting to work. Commit and update the central repository frequently together. And of course, you need help, use this link. If you click this link, it will take you to what we call the GitHub help. You can be able to navigate through the whole system and see anything that you need in terms of CI/CD, communities, and all that. I'll share my screen as we move forward to see what this help link does and all that. So the next thing is about the what you call different commands that are used, whereby you can use remote commands, you can use fetch or clone. We are going to use this because we are creating our first repository today. We are going to commit, we are going to add and all that. We'll check the status and all that. So that's all. I hope everyone has been in a position to download and set up, got it. How many people so far have been in the position to? So Naomi, can I see by the show of hands how many people have been able to install? Or how many have GitHub accounts, so to speak? Wangapi? Wameinstall? All right. So let's go to the main thing. So the first thing is to create the GitHub account. Are you together? So the first thing is this is the link that I'm talking about. It takes you to the help version. You can be able to check everything you want here, how to get started, the CI/CD, community, security, developer, anything that you want to. You can be able to read more on this. So I have my own GitHub account over here. But before then, the first thing is to create an account. GitHub. Yes. So if you want to join a GitHub, you click this link. And this is where you'll add. I can log out first. Or let me use a different browser. So can you see my screen? Confirm. Can you see my screen?
Yes, you can.
All right. So I want to share this link with you very fast. You want to sign up. I'm not able to download any. I have a problem with the network. Okay. We can navigate this. Can you let me know when you get an opportunity to download. So, but you can hold the, what you call it, the link. So the first thing you do here is to write your email. You write your email, maybe Agent 47. Yeah, let me see. What's the email of this? Agent 47. Just a second. Yes. Let me use the simple email address. Yes, let's say Gabriel dot who dot Mudhui at strathmore.edu, because I have this email. So you click continue over here. Let me use a personal email address. You can have maybe Gabriel at what? gmail.com. Okay. Just a second. You put your email there, gmail.com. Should send you an activation link. Are you together? Yes. So the first thing is to ask you to create a, what do you call it? You create a password, you do this, and if you're okay with the password that you put over there, so you say continue, and then which name do you want to give yourself? Maybe Agent 47, blah, 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 for my case. And then you'll say, what do you call it? Continue. You click here and say, if you're okay with it. Let me try to change this to Gabriel. We're doing it. If you want to change this, you can change to agent. You're okay with that. Password is strong. There's an issue with my name here. It is accepted and all that. But in your case, use the proper email. I'm using a corporate email. I mean, what do you call it? It's not valid. Let me give it a name. Let's say, for example, I can say some prop. Yes, is available. And then if the username that you're giving, for example, is available, then the whatever is going to give you that access is going to accept, and of course you can be able to click and continue. The other thing is the email preference. Do you want to receive occasional, maybe product updates, so to speak? Yeah, you say okay. If you want to receive, fair enough. If you don't want, but it's also good to receive in case you want some update. And then you say continue. So to take you to the email account that you have done what you've registered with, and then you go to your email, to your inbox, and check whether there is a link that has been shared with you for verification. So you log in. Yeah, let me check, confirm. Match this. So you have to pass through this test. Make sure that you follow through. And once verify, match the angle. Yes. Just a second. So let me restart. So this is a step that you need to pass. So you say commit, the first one, submit, submit. Just a second. So has anyone succeeded to create the account? Yes. Anyone experiencing challenges? Jogo, yours is complete. Anyone else? The same process that we are. There's nothing different from what we are doing. Yes, Ken. Anybody else? Naomi, next. So that we get into the main business. Anyone encountering some challenges? Even for those who have the GitHub account, let me see through your comments so that I know the quorum of the people that you can move on to push codes. The other team members. Yes, kindly let me know how many have
Mwalimu, there's someone in the chat called Ngata.
gathered.
Yeah, she wants some help. So maybe she can share the screen.
Yes, share your screen, please. Let me just stop sharing. Also, Sakawa, it could be an issue with your network. because I think you don't have to download GitHub. I mean, what do you call it? The Git repository. You just have to create an account through the link I've shared. Yes, you can just first create the account as we move on. Ngatha, can you be in a position to share your screen, please?
Yeah, so you may be able to see on the bottom part of the screen. So we have audio, video, participant chat, repeat somewhere, then there's share somewhere. So you click on that.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Can you maximize the... Okay. It's giving you some issues. Use the arrow to rotate. Yeah, I think it is in the right position. Go back. Yes, submit. Yeah, I think I've noticed an issue with the verification bit of it. So, Mwalimu, if you can allow me, I can work directly with the people who will be having issues separate. And then
No problem. So whoever has a challenge, Mwalimu, I
yeah.
think they have your numbers, but they can have your contact so that you can take them through.
Yeah.
So what's the problem with this one?
I am experiencing the same error. I think the GitHub either they have some some bugs behind the system. That's why it is not capturing the.
So is everyone having the same problem?
Anyone else experiencing the same challenge apart from Ngatha? All right, Ano Iganjo. Okay, same case. I can see it's a global issue. All right. So inbox me as we continue. Just follow through. I'll touch base with you after the class, and then we'll be able to create and at least create our first project. We'll be able to put something in there. But follow through as we continue with the other students. Okay. Allow me to share my screen. So the first thing that you encounter after you create your, what do you call it? After you create your repository is your profile. This is where you have your profile. So we have your profiles, you have what you call your repositories, your copilots, all these menu or sections will contain your, what do you call it? Your profile. Now, the first thing that we need to create is what we call the README file, or I can call it a description, or let me put it like a small summary of who you are. So, because normally what you'll experience is that there'll be just an empty file over here. I mean, you don't have any explanation of what you do, who you are, and what you do together. So I'm going to create this particular section. You just come here and click edit, together, and it will take you to what we call the README editor, or what you can call the visual edit section, whereby you can be able to type what you want or whatever you're working with, or whatever you are working upon, either it is Power BI, Tableau, SQL, and all that. So you can be able to write all the tools that you've been working for or with. Now, here, we have a small description. So here you can say, for example, hello, I am so-and-so, I am a data scientist by professions, I hold this and this. And for example, I have graduated maybe from what do you call 4 months, what do you call data analysis course at 7-8, right, together. And then you put our link over there as part of, maybe if somebody want to verify who is 7-8 and what they've done and all that. And then you can be able to add more, of course, and what do you call it, what you've been doing at 7-8 for the past 4 months. Then you can be able to put, what do you call it, our tools that you've been working with over here. So I'll follow through this. This is something that you can be able to generate. Maybe what I can do, because it has a lot of links, and of course, down here, I've added in this GitHub profile, you'll be able to find some of my projects that I've been able to accomplish. So we are going to add more projects down here. If we work with, let's say, Excel, if you work with the Tableau, if we work with SQL, we can add a project here, links for the project or to the project, where someone can be able to come and see whatever you've been working in the past few months. You can also link with your, what do you call it, your LinkedIn profile over here. You can be able to add your LinkedIn profile and your, of course, your email address. So I'm going to share this script. What you are going to do, number one, you are going to change the name here. You change the name from Gabriel to the name that resembles you or your name over here. And you can say, I am a data scientist. And the best part is you can just add anything. Any name you want to add, you put a plus. You put a plus here. For example, if I want to add a name here, Gabriel, let's say plus Macharia, for example, over here. Don't put space, don't put space. And then I commit my changes over here. If you want to add something else, it's okay, it's fine. So the name Macharia will appear here. Are you together? Initially, there wasn't. So I had just written Gabriel. So here you can be able to say Gabriel Macharia, something fancy to make your, what do you call it, the landing page. So interactive, also fascinating. I'm going to copy all this. Here you are going to change. We are going to change from what we are working on, let's say Tableau, SQL, and all that. So let's do this, and allow me to share it in the WhatsApp group, because the chat on the Zoom cannot be able to contain the characters that we have over here. So you come here. I want to paste it in the group. So you copy it and paste it. Then we are going to edit. So here you're going to put Tableau right together. And then let me just, you're going to put Power BI. You put Power BI there. You put SQL right together. And many and others, of course, others that you'll be able to see. You can be able to put others, definitely. Whichever works best for you, right together. Then here, you'll come to your LinkedIn profile. Let me just close this. You'll come to your LinkedIn profile over here and be in a position to go to your profile. You go to where you have your profile here. You click me and see view profile. Then double click this link. You double click it, then copy. You copy your LinkedIn profile and come back here and edit mine. You see where we have this slash, what do you call, forward slash. You come here and delete all the way to this point. And then you paste right together. You paste your LinkedIn. Then your email address, if you have an email address, you add it here. If you have a Twitter account, you also add it here. Now that one we are good. Then for the academy, you'll come here and say 7X. So you'll go to the 7X website, right, together. And then you copy this link as well, double click over here. And then come back to your account and change this, right, together. You change the what we call the link, and then you paste 7X. And of course, you write the name. You write the name here. What do you call it? 7X. You give it the name. Sorry. 7X. Yes, we give it the name here. 7X. We are good. Perfect. And then what else? You need to write your bio here. Of course, you know yourself. Tell us who you are and all that. You can maintain this SVG that I just put here in case you want to maintain it. You can also put maybe an image. If you want to add an image, you can add an image if you want. After you are done here, you can come here to your what you call the GitHub statistics. But now for us, because we've not pushed any project, we don't have any statistics so far. So you just commit your changes, come here and say update with me and all that. And of course, I can see 7X link is here, and I can click it if I want to see what 7X have been doing. I go through it and all that. You know, you can be able to validate the school or the institution that you gained your skill from. Are you together? Then the LinkedIn is over here, the email if somebody want to contact you, and the Twitter. After we have pushed several projects under 7X, they are going to appear here. Are you together? They are going to appear here, or the project that you have pushed. You'll be able to see total star and total commits for the maybe 1 year, total PRS, right, together, total issues you've committed and all that. So far, so good. We are good up to that point. The next thing is now to push our project, right, together. So where we have, let's go back to our main, and then we go to the repository, right, together. So now this is where we contains what we call our project that we have made in the past few months or few years. So if there is any project, you give it a name, and of course it can tell you when was it updated. If it is 7X training, for example, this is a repository I had created an hour ago. We have, let's say, cohort 3, any project that I have worked for, data science project that I've pushed, we have whatever. And of course, you can be able to open any project and see what has the developer done in the past, maybe, for example, maybe 1 year or maybe 2 years or 3 years. You can be able to go to the README file to understand what does the README file contains. This is just a description of your project. Of course, let's say, for example, bank marketing campaign analysis. Are you together? If you can go to the data itself, the bank additional dot and what do you call it, -CSV. If you want to download the data, you can download it there. And then we have the Python file, for example. Now the code, either it is SQL, if it is Power BI, we will be able to see the code that you worked for or you worked with. Over here, we'll see all the libraries that you used, the computations, what you call it, all the graphs and everything. It will be able to help us to go through this particular what do you call it, repo, called what you call the end-to-end predictive model using Python framework project over there. You get the point. So it is very easy to navigate, and you can see after every analysis, you make what you call the inference or inferential result, and explain what you've done and a particular component right together. If you want to write another code, you tell us what are we going to do, or what are we envisioning in this particular case, and something of the sort moving forward and all that. It is easier to come and see what have you put. In case you want to upload images, for example, you can upload maybe PNG, you can either upload a JPEG and all that. So it is easier to commit what you call it, all the files that you're working with in your project. But now you don't do the manual upload, because normally you can do the manual upload of your file, or you can do what you call the git commit functionalities, or using of the git command in this case. So that's how, this is how, what do we call it? This is how a project looks like, for example, in a nutshell, whereby you can be able to navigate through, in a position to understand what has the analyst done maybe in that particular case. So let's go back and create one. We want to create one project and a repository, and we are going to give it a name. So the first thing that you do, under the list of all the repository that you have created, there is an icon to the far right, right together here, written new with a green color. Right together, you create new, and I'm going to give it a name. Maybe I can give it, what do you call it? We can give it a name, let's say September cohort, or September underscore cohort in this case. And if the name is not taken by any other repository, of course, it's going to tell you it is available. If it is not available, for example, if I used cohort 3, for example, yeah, if I used cohort 3, it will tell me that the repository cohort 3 already exists in this, on this account. So I cannot be able to use the same name that I used previously. So I have to go back to, what do you call it, to my separate cohort. Then after that, if you want to make it public, for example, if it is a project that we have worked under 7.8, that's a public domain. That's a public project. Put it under public. People can be able to see it, to view it. You can share the link to people outside there, either as a portfolio and something of the sort. And then you come here down and say, create repository. You can ignore all this. You don't have to add the README file for now, like the one I showed you over here. What do you call it? The explanation on the project, what you're working with and all that. That one you can even add later. But for now, let's first create this particular repository. So the first thing that you will learn into is that you'll see now how your repository looks like. We have the name, it is public over here. And we have the quick steps, of course, how to can be able to make it happen, definitely. So we have a link to your Git repo over here, which we need to clone, so to speak. You need to do the cloning right together. After you clone this, you do what we call the Git initialization. This is our first step. You initialize that particular repository. And then if you want to add now README, you can add it. You can add it either as a text files or whatever the case it is. You can now have what you call your project description. After that, if you have something to commit within that particular repo called save cohort, you can be able to do that. Then you have, of course, the main branch. If you want to go for what do you call it, to add remotely and under this particular what do you call it, repo, you can be able to add it to your local repository, to a local Git, where you can be able to push your codes remotely. And of course, they'll be able to be updated in under this particular Git repo. So the first thing that we need to do is to run our Git, what do you call it? We need to run our Git bash over here. So if you have installed your Git repository, so allow me to navigate very fast. First thing first, we need to create a folder. We can create a folder that we are going to use to push our project. So let me just open my. So the first thing to make it easier for a new beginner is you create a folder on your desktop. So I'll come here and I can just go to the desktop over here, right together. So I have a folder called 7.8 right together over here. It is under desktop. So now what I'm going to do is that this folder contains nothing. It is empty. It's empty right together. So assuming this is where you are going to work, what do you call it, on your projects. Yeah, let's say for Power BI, Tableau or SQL. So the first thing that you do is to open, you right click this and go back one step and click this, what do you call it, folder, and right click it and then open with. So there's a place where you can see open with. Are you together? Can you, let me see. Yes, over here. So I want to run the Git bash here. Are you together? So you run the Git bash here because I wanted to capture the name of what we call the folder that I have selected. Are you together? Or you can even open it directly and then you say open and then you say show more and then you say Git bash here. It is going to capture what you call the name of that particular folder. You can see I have the name of that particular folder. It is under desktop, and this is the what do you call it? My OneDrive that I'm using over here. So the first thing we do is that because I have to share multiple, so you can be able to see this is what I'm talking about. This is the graphical user interface of the Git bash. And of course, you can be able to see we have our name for the what do you call it, the folder name. And we can now be able to see the username of who is using the machine, the desktop path that we have selected and all that. So going back to the what we call our Git repo that we have already created, we need to copy this code. We need to copy this particular code. Let me just so I need to share this other screen. Just a second. So under the quick setup, we have the clone, what you call it, the clone link over there. You copy that link, or you just highlight it, you copy, and then we come back and say git clone, and then right click and paste the link. So what it's going to do is that we are going to clone the repository together. So, and it will tell us that we appear to have cloned an empty repository, which is okay, together. Then the second thing, the next command is to initialize. We are going to initialize this Git repository. So we write git init, together. We initialize what we call our Git. Now we have already initialized our Git. It is empty. We don't have any files, so to speak, together. So now I want to add what we call maybe come here, I want to add maybe a folder. Let's say there's something I've worked for, maybe for the May class or the June class. Let me just copy maybe a file and I take it to the, what do you call it? The 7.8 folder in the desktop, whereby we can be able to at least have some files in it. Yes, so I'll come back here. Then I can give what you call ls to see whether I have something. Then you can have git status to see the status of the master branch that I'm having. You can see that under the git status, we are on the branch master. No commit yet that has been done. So we don't have any parent, so to speak. Are you together like we said? And we are under folder called the September cohort. But this is the Git repository that we created over there. Are you together? So now, under this particular case, if I want to see the list, ls, if I want to see the list of what do you call it, what is inside the 7.8 folder, I'll come to, what do you call it, the September. I can see I have one folder. So I need to navigate to what we call SEP. What do you call it? SEP underscore cohort in this case. So under SEP hyphen cohort, I can also now do the list. If I have added any file, of course, I'm going to see that there is assignment 4 that I just copied and pasted in this particular case. So I want to commit this assignment 4 to this particular repository. Are you together? So the first thing that you do is you say git add, and then you put what we call space, and then you put full stop. This means that you're adding everything together. You git add. Before you commit, you have to add this particular, what do you call it? This particular file that is within the SEP cohort folder over here, because you cannot push something that you have not added onto the particular repository that you have created. Then the next thing that you're going to do is to commit. So you say git. We are going to commit what we call our first project, so to speak. And I said, when you're committing, you give your your comment here. Committing what we call maybe assignment assignment 4 in this particular case. And then you move outside the quotes, and then you say push. Now, once you push, definitely it is going to give you some pros here, statement that's saying git commit, we have committed assignment 4. And then, of course, you can be able to see whether how many files have changed. Like now here, 1 file has changed, 0 insertions and all that. So now the remaining thing is now to push. We need to now push this particular, what do you call it? We need to push this particular assignment 4 that we have now committed into the Git repo. It is not yet there on the other side, so we need to, of course, be in a position to push this particular, sorry, Control C, I need to exit. All right. So the next thing that we are going to do is to push. So what we are going to do is here is to write git, right, together, push, git push. And then under git push, you say this is the command git push -u, and you say, of course, the origin. If you are working on the main, you push main. If you're working on the master, you push master. Are you together? And then you say, okay. So now, whatever you'll have now committed under the particular, what do you call it? The particular repository over here will be now be pushed to the repository. You see, there's a link that it gives you. You have this link. If you go to this link, you're going to find what we call assignment 4 over here. If I copy this link, for example, I copy the link, I can come here and copy this link. Just a second.
We also have a question in the chat.
Okay.
Mercy is asking what's the importance of cloning.
All right. If I answer that in a nutshell, is that you are linking your machine with the repository that you have created online, so that you can be able to push your codes or projects remotely without uploading them directly or manually. Just a second. Give me a second. We are here, we are back. So there's the link that I have just copied. So I want to paste it here, for example. And then it's going to take me to the repository that I created, right together. So let me share the screen so that you can be able to see. So now you see the assignment 4 that we have pushed already is already captured. So assuming I want to add a README over here and explain what it's all about, I can say this is my first assignment. This is my first assignment at 7x, high together. And then you say commit changes, commit your changes. And once it is saved, whoever comes here will be able to see that this is my first assignment. Are we together? So it is easier way of to do what you call it. It's easier way of pushing your project directly in terms of what you call it using commands. Another thing, if you have some other maybe features, let's say like images and all that, you can add files over here, whereby you can be able to upload your files directly from your computer, so to speak, where you can be able to come and say, select maybe, for example, I want to upload an image over here. So you choose your files from your computer. Let's say I want to have, let me just use this as an example. Let me go to where we have photos. Maybe, for example, yes, I can use this. When that file is uploaded, together, you come down here and you commit your changes. You commit your changes, together. You are in a position to commit your changes and say here, I've added maybe this particular, and you have to rename your files correctly before you upload them. Give them a better name, a proper name, like we said. What is the image all about? Is it a graph? Maybe, for example, from your analysis, is it a snapshot? Is it whatever case it is? Give us the name, together. Then come here and say, commit your changes. So of course, there is an easier way of doing it through upload directly. And there's also the other way of pushing all the all the codes that you have within your folder to your repository. Any questions so far? Any question?
Are you able to show us the manual way?
Yes, the manual way is the one that I want us to get into because I can see the time is not on our side. So for the easier way, the easiest and the shortcut is the same case. Just a second.
Mwalimu, why do they want the easier way?
The shortcut. It
No,
is
you have
not
to
the
prove
best.
your friends that you have something above normal or average, what do you call it, data analyst.
We are not
Yes,
coders.
exactly.
We are data analysts. We are not coders.
No, what I mean, look, you need to prove that, for example, if we are looking for 10 data analysts and you still have the same skill, right? But they're looking for something that it's someone who has something more than what other average people have, then you have an advantage. But I do understand. So we need to get this first, then we can move to the other one.
Yeah.
Yes, basically. Okay.
The coding one needs practice.
Go ahead, Mercy.
I think the coding one needs practice.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to, okay, this is just a fundamental class. We are going to be training you as you move forward. Of course, maybe perhaps after every session or modules, we can be able to have a recap session on how to push those particular projects. And we can do it practically now that we don't have a project so far. Are you together? So for the interest of time, for the sake of Mercy and many others who didn't raise their hands, so you go the same process, are you together? And you give the repository the name. For example, I'll just put it September test, so to speak. And then you just create your repository. You can add it if you want it to be public or private. It is still okay. Together. So now you already have your what you call your repository created. So you can come here and refresh, go to the repository, together, and open your self test. You can now open your self test over here. And now the next thing we are supposed to do is to do what? Upload our files together. So under this particular case, you see we have codes. We have what we call issues together. We have pull requests. We have actions. And then we have what we call the project. So in this case, you create a new project together. You create a new project. From this, let me say from no. Let me show you the easiest way. Let's not go. This will be the longest. This will be the longest. This will be the longest. Git clone. Let me see. Just a second. I'm looking for the. You have no yes. Yes. Don't want to do this. So you can put your readme here. This is my first project. This is my first project. Are you together? Then this is my first project. So after you commit the changes, I think my system has hung. Let me reload. Okay. So Mase, for the sake of just to let me see whether it will accept, because the first thing I wanted to, it is good to connect your Git repo directly to your computer, but also it is good so that in case you want to commit them afterwards, if you don't want to come and upload all the time for review purposes, you can go directly to your to your Git bash and be able to upload. So there are two functionalities here. You can either use what we call the create a new files, or you can upload an existing file to this particular repository directly. And maybe you give your your README files over here. Have to explain what you're uploading, so to speak. Are you together? So you'll come here and say upload your your files. You go to your files directly. Allow me to use the main class as usual, and then you select the files that you want to use. And assuming you have multiple files, the reason why Mwalimu Mark is discouraging to upload the files directly, assuming now this assignment 4, I have made some changes. I have made some changes under assignment 4, and I want to push those changes to the GitHub. So you'll be forced, once you commit this first file, you'll be forced to delete this file first and upload another file. You come here and add another file, the new one. Assignment 4, the updated version. Which now will bring a lot of redundancy. Your GitHub, because normally when someone comes and says we have, for example, we have 2 files that has got the same name, and you can see we have 2 commits so far already. You have 2 files that has the same name. So how are you going to handle the updates within that particular case? Unless when you're uploading, you upload the final version, the final version, the ones that you know, these ones, there is no changes that I'm going to make in the near future. But if you are working on, what do you call it, progressive projects, then therefore you need to use the Git bash to perform your updates or to push your updates under the same name of, are you together, the same project. You don't have to keep on repeating the uploads and all that. But that's the easiest way you can do that. Of course, basically, under your project, you'll be able to see that you have done A, B, C, D. Now, like the final project that we have done in the previous, with the previous cohort, you can be able to upload them together. You can be able to come to the Git repo and of course, create one repository, go there to the test and give it a name. Eventually, you can be able to, of course, add your files here in this particular case, or you can create new file, or you can say this is the updated file, then you delete the old one at the end of the day. But make sure the ones that you upload here, they are the final ones. Otherwise, if you are going to make changes, you'll be forced to delete the current one and upload the new one so that you don't create confusion. Are we together up to that point? Mercy?
Yes.
Okay. Any other question? Any questions so far?
Mwalimu, just to let them know that the request has been sent to Jimmy, Harris, Anwai Ganjo, Kenarek, Kedrick, and Kosgei. So check your email addresses. The link has been sent to you. Follow the link to accept and be able to access the repository. So in there you can get all the resources that we posted since we started from cohort 1 to where we are.
All right.
For those who have not finished that, those who have not done that, you can share your email address once you are done in the group, in the WhatsApp group.
Okay, so if there is no other questions, I'll beg to stop here. Follow up with me privately for the people who didn't manage to install the Git bash. I'll help you on one-to-one basis, and then can be able to create the account. Over to you,
So
Mwalimu.
yeah, so we can stop recording, Mercy.